What is going on, y'all? My name is John, and this is Facemask Fantasy, bringing you new fantasy content every day right here on this channel. So if you have not subscribed already, please hit that button. And before I get into it, I just got to let y'all know that we are rolling out live streams. We have a live stream every Sunday at 10 a.m. to go over start-sit questions pre-kickoff, and we have a stream every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. to go over everything that happened in last week's games and to go over waiver options before the waiver deadline early Wednesday morning. So tune in with us every Sunday and every Tuesday throughout the season, and hopefully we can help you win your fantasy leagues. But without further ado, let's get into some fantasy talk. And Odell Beckham Jr. is finalizing a deal with the LA RAMS. I was not projecting this, but here we are. Maybe I should have known that this team that just went all in to get Von Miller was not done, but here we are, the rich get richer. I could make a comment about how the NFL is often a microcosm of the society that we live in, but I ain't gonna go there. What does Odell to the Rams mean for your fantasy team? The biggest winner is Matt Stafford. He just gets more weapons to work with in his first season outside of the dungeon that has been Detroit for the last decade plus really. He was a QB1 before, and he just becomes more of a QB1 now. He has arguably the most talented wide receiver core in recent memory: Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Odell Beckham Jr., Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee at tight end. There's really not much to say when it comes to projecting Stafford moving forward. Again, he's a QB1 and he's the biggest winner here. But who's the biggest loser? I think it's Van Jefferson, and I don't think it's that hard. He was the third wide receiver in this rotation for this team that just sent Deshaun Jackson packing. So he was due to get a boost, but Odell's signing immediately vaults Odell to the wide receiver 3 spot on this team with room for more, which means Van Jefferson is at best the wide receiver 4 on this team, which means he is the 5th receiving option behind Higbee. He had been the wide receiver 36 through 9 weeks, the lowest of wide receiver 3s. Now he's got to be considered a wide receiver 4 at best moving forward. And honestly, he could sink down to wide receiver 5 value in fantasy unless Stafford and McVay force the issue with Van Jefferson. And I don't see that happening this year. Now let's get to the Cooper Kupp situation. I made a joke to the homie Nick about a mutual friend who just traded Elijah Moore and 2 first-round picks in the Dynasty League to acquire Kupp. And the joke I made was he's most likely crying right now. On the surface, it doesn't look too good for Cooper Kupp's case for wide receiver 1 rest of season, but this move should push him into the slot. It's clear he can dominate at any area of the field, and him and Stafford have a mind meld. He's still a wide receiver 1, and he can still reach wide receiver 1 overall value rest of season, even with Odell on the squad. Let us not forget he is averaging 26.2 fantasy points per game through 9 games. The next highest performer is averaging 20.7, and that's Deebo Samuel. Tyreek Hill is next with 20.6. If Kupp loses a touchdown a game, 7 fantasy points, he's still the wide receiver 4 in fantasy points per game behind Samuel Hill and Devontae Adams. So I'm not fading Cooper Kupp here much at all. Who I am fading is Robert Woods. He is due to see much more variance going forward for sure. Robert Woods has been at the wide receiver 12 through 9 games and is the wide receiver 23 by fantasy points per game through 9 games. He should drop into wide receiver 3 value, and he and Odell should trade fantasy relevant outings every week as wide receiver 3s with high-end wide receiver 2 upside weekly rest of season. This acquisition should not drop Robert Woods down too much, as this is still one of the most high-octane offenses in recent memory, the last game against the Titans aside. And as for Odell Beckham himself, he had barely been a wide receiver 4 for the Browns, but he should see a weekly wide receiver 3 floor and a weekly wide receiver 2 ceiling in this offense moving forward. He is going from a run-first attack to a pass-obsessed offense, getting a major upgrade at quarterback, and all in all playing in a more explosive offense than the one he left in Cleveland. All signs are pointing up. He's a buy as a more talented wide receiver than Robert Woods, who could supplant him entirely and step into a wide receiver 2 role come the fantasy playoffs. It's not something that I'm counting on because I still believe that Robert Woods should be a fixture of this offense, but it's something that we gotta at least speculate on because it is within the realm of possibilities here. And now for the tight end, Tyler Higbee. He had been the tight end 13 through 9 weeks, and he should fall into the late teens, firmly taking him out of the TE1 conversation for the rest of the season. If you have Tyler Higbee, I'd honestly be looking at trying to pick up somebody like a Logan Thomas. Maybe he's still on your wire, being that he is still carrying an injured reserve designation. And if this presents a buying window for Cooper Kupp over the next few days, I'm willing to make that move if I'm a contender in both season-long and dynasty leagues. As we've already been over, if you take away a touchdown from him every week, he's still the 4th best wide receiver in the league right now by fantasy points per game. And I'm also willing to buy Odell right now, even though we're buying high technically. His value has been so low lately that it should still present a value if you're buying him right now. You can probably get him for high-end wide receiver 3 prices, and he can put up low-end wide receiver 2 value moving forward on average for the rest of the year. So just to wrap the rest of this offense up, Woods, who has been a rock solid, if unexciting wide receiver 2, should drop into wide receiver 3 territory weekly, and I'm not super high on him rest of season. Van is a wide receiver 5 until further notice, and Higbee is a low-end tight end 2 until further notice as well. Matt Stafford is the biggest winner, but this move doesn't change his value much. He was a QB1 before this happened. He's a QB1 after this happened. And honestly, last thing I gotta say is, Sean McVay, you're a lucky dude. You're a lucky dude. That's all I gotta say. But what do you guys think about Odell Beckham to the Rams? Were you guys predicting it? What do you guys think about this acquisition and what this means for the rest of this offense moving forward? Put your thoughts in the comment section below. My name is John with Facemask Fantasy, bringing you new fantasy content every day right here on this channel. So if you have not subscribed already, please hit that button. Thank you for listening and have a great day.